Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm literally Gilberg.
And happy hump day.
Or as we like to call it, Shagger Wednesday. Because all of our stories today are from Dave Meltzer.
Thanks very much, Dave. This is the news. And we start off with the rumoured opponent for Roman Reigns at this year's WrestleMania. And it is, drumroll please,
That's not
Baron Corbin! Of course, it's
good.
Baron
Yeah,
Corbin.
great.
Yes, according to Shagger Dave in the latest episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, it looks like it is going to be Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35. The rumour has come about because that's who Roman is set to face on all the house shows leading up to WrestleMania. There's been speculation, obviously doing the rounds, that he could face any of the goobers that the Shield are facing at Fastlane, i.e. Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley, or even perhaps a turn for Dean Ambrose on the Shield and he faces him at WrestleMania. But by all accounts, it looks like it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. But before we go too hard on this, I will just add a little caveat. Just remember that when WWE were putting together that WrestleMania 35 card, they probably booked it thinking that Roman Reigns wouldn't be back. It is a miracle that he's already back, and certainly a miracle that he's already back in a state to wrestle. His leukemia, obviously, announcement that it's in remission was last Monday. So just take it as a blessing that we get to see him wrestle at all ever again, but even more so at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally fine with this Baron Corbin match on the grounds that it doesn't go longer than a minute and Roman just destroys him with 2 moves.
Yeah, no chin lock squash match.
Nah, man, that would be awful. Imagine bringing the guy, but like the guy coming back, he's been greeted with the most heartfelt responses of his career, and you put him in a chinlock match with Baron Corbin. That would be awful. Have him kill him in a minute and a half. Just murder Baron Corbin and then move on.
I think it's fair to say that when they teased that thing with Seth on Raw this week, a lot of us got a little bit worried that all of a sudden WWE is going to insert him straight back into a Universal Championship picture. I think easing him back in would be best, A, for his health, but B, also for that crowd reaction, to retain that support that he's obviously received since returning. I think they're going to have a really enjoyable, crowd-pleasing match at Fastlane with the Shield versus the 3 Goobers. And then a little match at WrestleMania, like you say, a singles match for him, which may still be pretty taxing. He's still recovering from leukemia, of course. And just put him against someone that everyone hates.
Yeah, squash him.
Baron Corbin.
Squash his ass, like Finn Balor did to him. Was it SummerSlam when he turned up as a demon? Just do that.
Big crowd popping, set of moves. Bear, we all go over.
Yeah, job done. Nice and easy, simple, job done. Job done, job done. Okay, you know who did the job last night?
Nice.
Well, no, he didn't do the job last night because he won. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe. He's the United States champion.
About damn time.
Finally, after 2 years on the main roster, he has his first belt. He did so after R-Truth laid down his usual United States Championship Open Challenge. Out came Lacey Evans. Fortunately, R-Truth decreed that Lacey Evans does not count. I agree. Out came Samoa Joe, out came Rey Mysterio, and out came Andrade. And what ensued was one of the best SmackDown matches of the year. It was a berserk 4-way. They all played their role. The interactions between Andrade and Rey were tremendous, as you expect. And of course, they're now facing at Fastlane on the kickoff show. Good. But Joe was the man in the end. He scored the pin. He broke up Rey's pinfall. He hit a senton, and then he hit a one-armed Uranagi for the victory, and then cut one hell of a backstage promo afterwards. Surprise, surprise. So, Joe's a champion. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I do feel a little bit sorry, and I never thought I'd say this, for R-Truth, because he has made me care about him in ways I didn't realise over the last 6 months. And it was nice to see him be rewarded with the United States Championship, of course. It was great to see him retain it last week in that really good triple threat. And I've enjoyed his United States Open Challenge. I feel like his homage to his childhood hero, John Cena, has been rather entertaining.
Yeah.
But having said all that, it is great to see the United States Championship on the shoulders of Samoa Joe. And I think, not that R-Truth did anything to lessen the belt, but he wasn't on telly for about a month. I think this can hopefully build it back up, and he should treat it like it's his prized possession, as it should be.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I love R-Truth as well. He's very entertaining. He's a much-needed comedy act on SmackDown, but he is a comedy act. He's a novelty. He's an undercard gimmick. When he has a championship belt, that does undermine the championship, unfortunately. And the United States title hasn't been booked particularly well over the past year or so. A series of just non-existent champions that haven't worked out. So here's hoping Joe's the guy who can turn the corner. He's a very effective heel. He's the best promo in the company. I think this is going to be fun.
Again, no offense to R-Truth, but now hopefully the United States Championship match, if we get it at WrestleMania, is no longer a match that I'll go, I need to Lou here.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully be, you can build any of the babyfaces on that roster as a credible opponent to Joe, and just having murdered them at WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really right, an update on Dolph Ziggler now, according to Shaggy Dave in the latest edition of the Wrestling
I don't think
Observer.
they're ready for this one. Like, this is huge.
Yeah, it's not really a big story, this, but be honest. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler is currently on hiatus, and there's no actual confirmed date when he's going to return, if he is going to return at all.
Yeah, classic Dolph Ziggler, this, isn't it? Is he leaving? Is he staying? Who knows? He's probably staying, let's be honest. This is what he does.
Fastlane, and everyone's going to go, oh.
He's going to interfere as a heroic babyface, get 2 people applauding for him. Man, it's kind of tough. Like, I know this came from Shagger Dave, and he's the big dog and all this stuff. But it is really hard to take these Ziggler stories seriously. I mean, how many have we heard over the past few years? They just come and they come and they come, and Ziggler inevitably returns a few weeks later.
Too soon. I've said this a million times, soon. And I always say I don't wish injuries on anyone, but when Kevin Owens and when eventually Sami Zayn come back, they're going to get a great reception after they were a bit sort of lost when they first left for injury. You know, Ziggler going away is a good thing. Make me want to miss you. I've said this for years and years and years. He's been there, you know, almost too regularly.
Yeah.
But then the one time when they sent him away and he dropped the title, he left the championship in the ring and what have you. And then he returned about 4 weeks later at number 30 in the Royal Rumble. And now everyone went. He needs a prolonged period of time away. I think there is still hope for him to do something, whether it be a shocking return on maybe like NXT, I don't know, just freshen the character up somehow.
Just go away for 6 months, do your goofy little stand-up comedy or whatever he does on the side, and then maybe come back with a completely new, refreshed character. I think most people no hate on him as a performer, and he's very skilled. He's worked very hard for a long, long time, and he was over back in the day. But I think most people are just really sick of the guy. He's bland, he's done. We've seen every trick he has. He kind of needs something fresh.
We'll always have that Raw after WrestleMania,
yes,
won't
we absolutely will. Can't wait for that. So, speaking of the Raw after WrestleMania, that might be Ronda Rousey's last date in the company. This is, again, according to Shagger Dave on Shagger Wednesday, he reckons that per WWE's current plans, that will be her last show. So she'll presumably lose the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 35. Shock, no one's going to see that coming. Do the Raw after Mania and then bugger off, presumably to start a family. Now, again, this wasn't reported as fact, and we are not divulging it as fact, but it is WWE's current plans. They can change.
It would seem to make sense. The only other explanation I can see, I'm not sure if this has been made official or not. You know, they said we're switching Backlash and Money in the Bank around. If they want to do one more match, a singles match between Becky and Ronda, they may do that at the pay-per-view following WrestleMania. Or, like you say, if you have that amazing triple threat match and she has a big farewell on Monday Night Raw, that's still in the tank. That's still there for when she comes back, arguably. Or, fingers crossed, she goes away, she has a family. We wish her all the best with that and Travis Brown. But if she could come back for some sort of 4 Horsewomen versus 4 Horsewomen Survivor Series match in 2020,
yeah, that'd be good.
I am fully involved.
I think a lot of people will be disappointed if we don't get that Becky singles match eventually. Perhaps they'll even do that on the Raw after Mania. You know, the Raw after Mania is mostly known for big surprises, returns, comebacks, all these things. It'd be nice to have like a total banger match on there as well.
And to be fair, Ronda always used to defend the title immediately after a pay-per-view, so if Becky won it, she could say,
there you go.
Fair. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can tweet them at us at WhatCulture WWE. Let's start with a question from Lorenzo Sani, who says, what do you guys think about there being a television championship that gets put on the line every Raw, SmackDown and NXT? I think it'd be pretty cool, but then again, there isn't a need for another championship.
Yeah, good idea. Really good idea, in fact, but I think you would have to bin one of the existing titles for that. They've got too many, like you point out there. You'd either have to get rid of the Intercontinental or the United States champion. That would leave Raw or SmackDown without a mid-card championship because you'd presumably have this TV title floating around. I think it's a really good idea. It would be a good way to get like some fun, exciting matches, different matches on TV every week, and you can hotshot it around with minimal consequences because it's going to be on the line every week. How do you fit it in? I don't think it's possible.
I don't think you do it every Raw, SmackDown and NXT, but I've got an idea for you. Instead of scrapping another mid-card title, just make it a women's belt.
Oh,
So
it's
you have
not.
the Raw and SmackDown title, the NXT title, and this extra TV title, which is sort of the mid-card, which they don't really have at the moment.
They don't.
Now, granted, they probably just put it on bloody Natalia, but still.
What's wrong with that? It's Phil Chambers' favourite wrestler. There we go.
But I think like with the talent that they've got now that isn't being used in and around the title picture, like it, well, not right now, but an Ember Moon, for example, or something like that as a step up. And certainly the people that they're bringing up through NXT, if they had, I don't know, let's say for argument's sake,
Lacey Evans.
yeah, Lacey Evans, you want to use her, or any of the four horsewomen when they're not involved in the tag team or the major titles picture. If they had that championship and then took it to a match on NXT, just imagine how good that could be. But let us know your thoughts on that in the comments section below.
Yes.
Christian Giovanni asked the next question today. He says, with the tepid response that Mustafa Ali might have received for his return tonight, oh yeah, he came back on SmackDown. Yeah. Do you think he would have got the fan backing that Kofi has received had he worked the SmackDown Gauntlet and the Elimination Chamber program?
Yes, absolutely. I think the tepid crowd response was more to do with the crowd throughout the night. They were not good.
Sort yourselves out. It's like 3 weeks in a row we've had crap crowds.
They were really bad throughout the entire show. I mean, the usual suspects, Becky and that got reactions because she's Becky Lynch. Daniel Bryan got heat because he's Daniel Bryan. They're the biggest heat drawers in the company. Guys like Mustafa Ali are not going to get anything from crowds like that. He got like a polite murmur, and so did almost everything else on the show, Like that Mandy Rose Naomi match might as well have taken place in a goddamn library, and then Asuka comes out and beats the tar out of Fire and Desire, terrible name.
Sex and violence,
and that barely registers either. I think that was more to do with the crowd, and I do think that yes, although he's not quite as charismatic as Kofi Kingston, he would have gotten the same reactions that the New Day man is currently enjoying.
America, keep this up and the UK will be started taking those TV shows.
Oh, can you imagine?
We guarantee a reaction.
Raw in Aberdeen, get in.
Final question today comes from Eric Jensen, who asked, do you think WWE will feature a female superstar on the cover of 2K? If so, when? Now, we should caveat this. We had, what was it you said yesterday? DLC.
Ronda was
DLC.
I think I don't follow these games.
But AJ was the cover star because, of course, we had to keep the WWE Championship on it for some reason. Samoa Joe fight, whatever. But yes, do you think we're going to see a woman on the cover? And if so, when?
Yeah, it's inevitable. It'll happen eventually. It has to. If there wasn't all this talk about Ronda Rousey potentially going away, I would suggest that she would be on the cover this year. Potentially Becky Lynch could happen as soon as this year.
When does 2K come out normally? Do we know?
November or something?
Okay.
Something like that. To be honest, I don't really keep up with the games. I think they suck. But it is a significant thing for whoever's on the cover. It's quite an honour. Becky Lynch is probably the choice, but who knows? They might go for Charlotte. It's WWE.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they may either do that or just have both on there.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they feel like, we haven't really got enough, so we'll just combine these two.
That could work
together. But yeah, I think in the next year or two we're going to see it, and I think it should be Becky. If it was released today, it would be Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But I think perhaps you could see Becky and Charlotte possibly on the cover.
What about Dana Brooke? Cool, and finally, I'm introducing this one today. So Adam Wilburn, I've got
I'm excited.
Quite a moronic tweet here from a former WWE champion, a title holder in this company actually.
Right.
I'm going to ask you to guess who it is after reading the tweet. So, to start this tweet, the person does the prayer hand emoji thing, saying, #RIP King Kong Bundy, of course.
Of course.
The epitome of pro wrestling, one word. I recall, not capitalized, going to shows at MSG with my grandparents. My grandma Rafaela loved him and hyped him up the whole ride in. Plenty of wrestlers risked it all that night, but I never forgot the guy with the green tongue who ate the turnbuckle. So, Adam Wilburn, which former WWE title holder is dumb enough to confuse King Kong Bundy with George the Animal Steele, who died 2 years ago? You got 3 guesses.
Well, it's an idiot.
4. It's an idiot.
Who you say no longer with the company?
No longer with the company.
I'm trying to think who's this. Is it like an older wrestler who maybe is forgotten? I don't want to have a go at anyone who may be losing their memory or something like that.
No hints. Be problematic.
Do you know the name who's popped into my head?
Fire it off.
And I'm not sure we're even allowed to say his name anymore, but I'm going to say it anyway. Enzo Amore.
It's Enzo Amore.
Yes!
Of course it was
I was
Enzo
like,
Amore.
the way you explained he'd written it as well, and like emojis and stuff, I was like, it could be like an old legend, but then I was like,
Yeah, you don't want to be mean.
I think they would, despite, some of them obviously losing their memory a little bit, they'd remember
Yeah.
which one George the Animal Steel is and which one King Kong Bundy
Between
is.
King Kong Bundy and George the Animal Steel, is it because they're both bald? Like, can you not tell the difference between me and Stone Cold? Like,
As many wrestling fans will know, watching this on the internet, there's quite a lot of stories on the internet that prove how much of a wrestling fan that Enzo Amore is. Didn't he break his ankle or something doing a...
yeah, the go watch the Simon Gotch buries Enzo Amore video that gets recommended on YouTube all the time. It's 18 minutes long, but it is the most comprehensive breakdown of how much of a complete and utter hurricane of urine Enzo Amore really is. He's get him in the bin.
Yeah. Do you reckon he's going to make an appearance at WrestleMania like he did at
I'm not going.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anymore.
Yeah. Enzo Amore, you're an idiot.
Bye.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow our lovely editor Phil at Phil My Chambers. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes or Spotify for daily wrestling podcasts. My thanks to Andy Murray and to Enzo Amore for being an idiot. And we will see you soon.
Ate the turnbuckle. King Kong Bundy. Wow.